Well, hello, everyone. We had a lot of signups today, so hopefully I have a lot of you joining me. Today, we are going to create these fun mosscape wall art. So I don't know if you want to do an overhead and show some different ways you can configure them. Maybe not. So anyway, you can put all the different little pieces on your wall, however you want them, separate them a little bit, put them close together, however you want. Of course, you can cut any shape that you want. I just happen to cut these shapes because it uses the entire 12 by 2 or 12 by 2 by 18 sheet. So you have no waste. So this is what we use today. It's 12 inches wide, it's 18 inches long, and it's 2 inches thick. So that's what we're gonna cut apart for the base of it. And then to add your little fun dimensional moss pieces here, we're gonna cut apart these foam balls, this CraftFōM balls. We have a 2.5 inch, a 2 inch, and a 1.5 inch ball. And to paint the outsides of the pieces, I just used acrylic paint, and you can either use a paint brush or a paint roller. This might be a little faster, so I'll show you some different ways to paint it. And then Michael's has a lot of these different mosses, so I'm not sure. Am I front view still? Am I front view or am I overhead? Okay. So they have these fun mixed mosses, and they have little wood chunks and different mosses, forest moss, reindeer moss, some dyed reindeer moss and Spanish moss. They also have these littler bags of reindeer moss dyed in like a chartreuse green or a forest green. And then while I was there, they also had these really fun bright colors. So it's all what you want to use. Anything and everything goes with this project, however you want it to look. So they also have these great big bags of reindeer moss there. So, and these big bags of floral moss. So if you do want to do a big wallscape, they have bags for that too. And then just to add some fun textures, I outlined some of the moss with these little pebbles. You can also find there at Michael's. And then to give some other texture and some different greens, I grabbed a couple of these. They kind of look like little baby boxwood or something. And then these little succulent picks. We'll cut those apart and use those. And then some of the tools you will need. We're gonna need a ruler, and we're gonna need a marker to mark your sheet, and then some kind of serrated edge knife, steak knife, little handsaw, bread knife, anything that you have that has teeth. We'll cut our foam. We're gonna need some wire cutters to cut apart the little picks. And then depending on if you're gonna paint it with a brush or with a roller, you'll just need something to use as a tray or a brush. And then we're gonna need a low temp glue gun. And we use low temp guns because the high temp guns sometimes get so hot that they melt the foam. So we're gonna use a low temp, or always use low temp on our foam. You're gonna need some kind of drop cloth to paint on. And other than that, I think that's all we're gonna need to get started. And I know Felicia asked where people were from and said hello to a few of them. Did they say whether, are you guys crafting along? Or are you just watching?
It looks like we have a lot of watchers today. We have more people from North Carolina, Kansas City, Sacramento, California, Arizona. We're all over the place.
Nice. Set these right up here and get them out of the way for a second. So this is how easy it is to create the shape that I did. Now, of course, I mean, you could take templates, you could do your letter, your monogram, you could do, you know, circles, you could do, I mean, there's so many things that you can do. And it's so easy to cut our foam. So right now I got an 18-inch ruler. So I'm cutting this whole block in half. So I'm just gonna mark at the 9 and cut it in half.
A question on if you can use real succulent plants instead of artificial.
Well, our foam is not made to grow real plants in, but I guess if you wanted to use our foam as a frame, I mean, you could like dig out, like this one I've already got painted. So you could literally like dig out. So you score it or cut it, and then just use like a spoon and just carve out this whole inside of this block and you put dirt in the bottom. Let me see. I think it's dirt in the bottom, and then they do like that forest moss or peat moss or something on there, and that kind of holds the dirt in. But then you would have to secure like chicken wire or maybe even, yeah, chicken wire would probably work. Secure that to the foam so that everything doesn't like come out when you put it on the wall. But I mean, I've seen them do live wall art. So I think it would work, but it's not going to live in our foam. You would have to give it a medium to live in. Okay, so far I cut this brick in half, or I marked it in half, and now I'm going to take and mark a 3-inch edge on one side. So I'm going to mark 3 inches here, 3 inches down here. I'm going to make your other line.
Don, do you think these would be safe on a covered porch?
I do think they'd be safe on a covered porch. The moss is dyed. I think that if it got sun, it probably would bleach in time, I would imagine. I know that there are like UV protectant sprays that you can spray on the mosses to help them stay a little fresher and a little nicer. All right, and then I use my ruler as a guide for the knife so that I can get a nice straight cut. And then just make sure that you're holding your knife straight up and down, because if you don't want to cut at an angle and get a crooked line, you want it a nice 90-degree angle. So just hold your knife right up next to the ruler and just use it as a guide. Then once you get it apart, you can just take the two pieces and kind of rub them together. And what that does is it makes it a nice, clean, smooth, in case you have any little jaggeds from the knife, that makes that all nice and smooth for you. All right, and then again, lay down your ruler. Looks like I got my line a little crooked. All right, there's 2 pieces. And the last one. Now we do have a heated tool. It's called our clean cut cutter. It's just got a metal wand that heats up really hot and it slices through the foam very nicely, but it would work for this. It's more for intricate cuts. It would definitely cut through this. It would just take a little bit of time, but that is an option if you wanted to try our clean cut cutter. All right, so now that we have these all cut, I'll show you a couple options for painting. So if I'm gonna paint with a brush and I have a lot of surface to cover, I don't mess around with putting my, and you might wanna wear gloves too, but I don't mess around with putting my paint in a little bucket. I just literally just dump it on there and smear it around. It's a lot faster than trying to load your brush. This goes a lot faster. And foam takes quite a bit of paint because it's all those little open cells. And you have to get the paint into all those little cells so it covers. So this way just kind of helps make it a little quicker. Am I overhead? Okay. I keep seeing myself when I look up, so I don't know which way to hold my project. All right, so that's if you're gonna brush it on. Just pour it on, smear it around. It's just that easy. Just like so. And this is my go-to painting technique. That's about the only way that I do it. And you don't have any waste, then you don't have all that paint in the bottom of your bowl that you're scraping out. It's just right from the bottle to the foam. So this, I'm not gonna lie, I have not tried, but it sounded like a good idea. So we're gonna try this together. So here's where you need your little tray. And I would say, I mean, really put it on there. Load it up good. Let's see how this works. Oh my goodness, that's nice. That's nice. So try this. I mean, the other way is pretty quick too, but whoop. See what I just did. That's funny. So anyway, that does work with the roller. So whichever way, you can sponge it. You can brush it. You can even use spray paint on it. Just don't get it all over you, right? But I did ask you to put on gloves, remember? I'm trying to look out for you. Thank you. Okay. So either way you paint it. So all we did was, so you're gonna paint all the sides and then just like maybe 3/4 of an inch around the top side. I didn't paint the back at all. You don't need to. So those are your steps so far. Any questions? All right. And to prevent myself from getting all full of paint, I pre-painted these so they wouldn't be wet, so I wouldn't get it all over me. Good. All right, let's start with a big square one. We'll get going on one of those. So these little mixed moss bags have all kinds of different mosses in them, and they even list them here on the back. There's forest moss, sheep moss, reindeer moss, Spanish moss, and we use all of those. And then there's this little stuff which is like lichen moss. They don't list that one on here. So because these mixed mosses had this nice little chunk of sheep moss in it, that's what I used first. And I don't know if I asked you to get scissors, but scissors work good for this job. So I just took and cut that like into a triangle-ish shape. And that one can go right there.
How are you going to attach these to the wall? We have a question kind of about weight that can be held by the foam.
Yeah, so all this moss is very light, very, very lightweight. So it really doesn't add, I mean, even the little bit of stones that I put on here doesn't add hardly any weight. But I am going to show you at the end how to easily attach these to the wall. Or do you want me to show you now? We'll do it at the end. All right. All right, so far you just put kind of like a triangle-ish shape in the corner. And then to attach the moss, just add a couple little spots of glue. And it doesn't have to like be the whole, it doesn't have to be the whole back of the, my gun don't want to work. It doesn't have to be the whole entire back of it, just a few little strips of glue on there will hold it just fine. I'm going to stick that in place. And then once you have that in, then we kind of know how much room we have for the ball, or you can do the ball first if you want that to make sure that it's going to fit in there. So the all three sizes of balls just need to be cut in half, exactly in half. And same thing with the balls. When you get them cut in half, they might be a little bit jaggedy. So just rub them together and that makes them nice and smooth. All right. So for these, and this one, I used the forest green reindeer moss and the Chartreuse reindeer moss. And all I did was cover the majority of them with the forest green and then added little accents of the Chartreuse in with it. So tiny bit of glue. Again, it doesn't have to be solid glue, just enough to tack it in place. And this is preserved moss. So they use like a, what do they use? It's, I'll think of it. But anyway, the preserved moss, once it dries out, it's dry. But like the sheet moss and some of the other mosses that are just naturally dried, you can like put water back on them and kind of revive them. Or you can put the glue right on there. It's either way. So add a little green, light green, dark green, here and there. And you can trim it up with your scissors if it gets a little hairy. Been seeing a lot of moss art around on Pinterest and on some of the sites, and it's going crazy right now. Everybody wants moss art. It's kind of a nice thing if you're not really good with plants. You can have a little bit of green in your house. You don't have to worry about it needing water or sunlight. Just always looks good. And then you can take your scissors and make it a little bit more round. Something like that.
Dondi, we have a question on any bags of moss that weren't listed.
What's that?
Did you mention a moss that wasn't listed on the list?
I don't think so. There was a mixed moss, a reindeer moss.
Oh, maybe they think you said mist.
Mixed.
All right. Yes, I provided links in the chat for all 4 of the types of moss to different bags.
They had these mixed bags, and not every store has the same kind of stuff in their store.
Okay.
Yeah, the mixed moss has reindeer, forest moss, this Spanish moss, and this little bit of lichen moss.
Okay.
And
then that's the gray moss that I think they were referring to. So it just depends on what's in the bag.
Yeah, some of them are different because this one I have didn't have any of this purple stuff.
Okay. So it really is just going to be a variety based on what bags you buy.
Yep. Yeah. And like I said in the beginning, it's, you know, it all works. It's just what you want to put where, how you want to lay it out, I guess. All right. So there's one. We'll start with this next one. Again, we're just adding a little glue, adding a piece of moss.
Would these be safe in a bathroom with the humidity? And
I think so. I don't think humidity will hurt them at all. Oh, the one thing is, they do say that the dyed moss, this purple or this green, probably any of it, it's all dyed. It will color faster. Yeah, dye, like if you get it on any fabric or if you get it on like unfinished wood or anything like that, it's gonna dye it, bleed the color. So just be careful of where you're putting it. With these, with the moss being framed in with the foam, there's really no way that it can touch anything, but now you wouldn't have to paint a frame around this. You could do the whole thing moss if you wanted. Or you could do around the outside edge, you could do like cotton rope, you could do jute, you could do burlap, ribbons. There's lots of different things you could put around the edge if you didn't want to paint it. I think I need a new glue gun. Darn, I have to go to Michael's. All right, where am I at? Some of these look pretty ratty, like some of it's just like some of the stuff that doesn't look the greatest, you could use it like in the tops of your house plants. Kind of use it in there. At least you wouldn't have to throw it away, but it's kind of, I don't know. I like these nice little round, pretty ones. I'm on these sometimes here. Oh yeah, once you get him all covered, just take your scissors, trim him up to make him round. There's the second one. And this one should go pretty fast. So is anyone out there going to try some different shapes? Maybe try a monogram. Well, this stuff is really, really soft when you first get it out of the bag, but it will dry out in time. And it does get kind of brittle. Like I said in the beginning, you can get like the UV spray might help like hold it together, but I mean, if it's on your wall, it's not like it's going to get brushed against or anything, but just a warning that this stuff does brittle up after a while. It doesn't seem like it would because it's so spongy when you get it out of the bag. But I have some old projects downstairs that a couple years old and they're starting to show it. Right, there's your third little mound, moss mound. And that's just fun because you can get some dimension. And those could be different shapes too. You could do hearts, you could do anything. Just have fun with it. All right, so I guess I'm gonna glue those down so they don't shift around while we're trying to do the rest. So I just put him right in the corner, right up against the frame. And then this little guy doing the opposite corner, right up against the frame. And then center this one right in the middle of the two. Something like that. All right. Then it looks like I used a little of the Spanish moss to go along the edge of the sheet moss, kind of tucked in along there. So we'll add a little glue to hold it in place. And we'll start tucking that in. And this you can of course trim with your scissors too. If it gets a little crazy, and it probably will. This just gives a little bit more texture, another color. And if you want to add a little bit, just kind of roll up a little piece in your finger, add a little glue, and stick it in there. And then here where it's going across your frame, just trim it off. All right. Now in between here, one of my little bags had a stick. But see, this one don't. Must just all be, oh, there's one. So it must just all be what's on the forest floor when they're. So anyway, there was a little stick and it has little moss on it, but I took that off. Oh, and there's not even enough to do it. So anyway, you can find little, that's what I put in between the little balls. There's little, I just cut apart little sticks and put them in there. For this, we will use something else in there. We'll use rocks, or we'll use some of that bark or something. Add more of this in between. So yeah, if you wanted to do this, do a fun scape with fresh flowers and moss, you could take our wet foam bricks. And, you know, a lot of times if they want to hang our foam, they'll put it like in a plastic bag so that it doesn't drip. And then they poke the flowers right through, kind of like the top of the plastic bag. And bag holds the water and keeps the brick all contained. And you could use mosses, and then you could use like real flower blossoms. Would be fun. Wrap it in some chicken wire to hold it and hang it from. There's lots of different things you could do. I think I'm going to use this. Looks like I used this forest moss on the other side of these balls. I'm going to stick a little bit of that in. But before I get it all in, I better put this where I want it. So I know I have enough room. I'm going to add this little bit of purple up in the corner just for a little splash of color. And then I took this fun little lichen moss, I guess. And it's kind of in a little blob. You can kind of cut it apart. It fluffs up a little. But I just put that kind of around the edge of this purple. Kind of a weird shaped little thing. That'll work. Just to separate the purple and the forest moss. We'll add that. And then fill in with the rest of this forest moss. And give it a little chance to dry, I guess. Add some more glue. like that. We have all our moss in. And then you can take your little stones and use those along the edge of like your sheet moss or wherever, just to add some fun color and texture. So I literally just line these along the edge. No rhyme or reason, just pop them in there. Just to kind of frame that moss. And these could be little sticks. If you'd rather use sticks. Little pieces of, I don't know, anything. Little mini pine cones, anything that you can find on the forest floor.
So here at FloraCraft, you may not know, but we like to make it fun. So this is Dondi's favorite part. We have the joke of the day. So are you ready, Dondi?
I am ready.
All right. What do you call the facial hair on a tree?
Facial hair on a tree. I guess I wouldn't know the answer to that.
It's a moss. A mustache.
A mustache. Of course it is. See, we do like to have fun. Oh, a mustache. All right. Doesn't look like I got my little stones quite as straight as I did on the first one, but you get the idea, right? Oh, and it looks like I went all the way up to the, it's like I brought it all the way over to your half ball. Kind of frames in the end of this Spanish moss too. Something like that. And then all the way over to this littlest one. And we'll keep right on going. There. So that's what I did with my stones. And then if your bag has these little pieces of bark, we'll get all those out right now. I hope that yours has bark. I think both bags of mine had bark. So the only difference was the sticks.
How would you cut out the initials on foam if someone wanted to do that?
So you will make yourself a paper pattern. So draw your letters on a piece of paper, like the real size that you want it. And cut out your template and pin it to your foam. And trace it onto your foam. And then trying to look for all my bark. And then use a serrated knife to cut it out. Or if it's not 2-inch foam, if it's like if you're using 1-inch foam, you could cut it out real easy with our help me out, clean cutter. Foam cutter. All right, so this looks like all the bark that I have. So I'm gonna divvy it up into even piles because you need a pile for your other square. So we'll use this pile for this square. And if it's a great big piece, you might even be able to break it in half, maybe cut it in half, make a little more. Yeah. All right, and we're just gonna using a lot of glue today. Just make a line down where your sheet moss and your Spanish moss meet. We're just going to make a nice little border through there. And too, I have some other, oh my goodness, some other wall art that I did in the past that's similar technique, and I'll show you those projects, give you some more ideas on how to use our foam. Oops, messed that up. So that's kind of what I did with the bark. And then in between here, I think we'll use stones again, I guess. I'll put it right on there. To attach these. And you don't have to have anything in between here. I don't know. I mean, really, they're fine just like they are. But I just thought it kind of looked like it made it connect that way. So however you want. And now I feel like since we got rocks there and we got rocks there, maybe you want rocks over across to border those too. Oh, it's up to you. Or a different color moss or however. But that's kind of how you do the, am I still on overhead? That's kind of how you do the 9x9s. So for these, I'm going to take your wire cutters and we're going to cut all these off of here and we're going to leave an 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch stem on there. We're going to cut each one off like that. Well, some of them are going to have 1, some are going to have 3, some have 2. We're just cutting off all the little branches. So where are people making these for? Oops, I wasn't supposed to cut that one off. You didn't see that. I heard porch, I heard bathroom. You got some ideas of where you're going to put these guys? Nice.
Office. They would look nice in an entryway.
Oh yeah. It's something to look at first thing when you walk in. So some of these are a little bit, they don't really have much, there's no wire in them, so they're a little rubbery. So if you hold it like right close to the end when you're pushing it in, you can still get it in there. Or you can take like another pick or something and pre-pilot a hole. The thing with pre-piloting a hole is it's not going to fit as tight. So you might need to glue them in. And actually, because we're not pushing these in very far, I would probably glue these in anyway. So you're not going to have any problem with them falling out once you get them up on your wall. So we're just putting these along here and trying to fill in best we can. Spread them out a little more. Something like that.
Sandy, we have a question on if they could use spray adhesive instead of hot glue.
Ooh, sure. I think that would work. Yeah. I mean, you might get a little messy, but then, you know, look at me, right? But no, I think spray glue would work fine. It would have enough tack to hold the moss in place for sure. I don't know about the stones. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, there's some pretty sticky spray glue out there. So, all right. So after I put in all these guys, you have that little bit of green around the edge. So all I did was take a little of this forest moss. You could use reindeer moss, you could use Spanish moss, you can use whatever you want, but all you're doing is filling in between the stems to cover the green. And you want to just tuck it in so that it's not covering your black frame or whatever frame you decided to paint it or not. I mean, you could even paint it to match your living room or your bedroom or your whatever, because you can use house paint on our foam. Will work just fine. Latex paint. So all I'm doing is covering up the little bit of green that's not painted black. You know, I wonder if you painted the whole top black, if you even need the moss. You could try that. So what are some fun shapes people are going to try to cut out? I heard letters.
Someone also said, can you put the form in an acrylic box and hang it on the wall?
Sure. That would, yeah, of course. Just in where you can see green. And again, you can use any kind of moss here, whatever you have. I think we have it about covered. Any more green in there? I don't know if I have these exactly perfect, but you know. Somewhat. So there's that one. And then this little guy is exactly the same way. You have these picks, succulent picks. Oops. Oh, just broke right off. And, oh. Does anybody else have a problem with these little goofy stickers? I wish they tore. Well, if they tore easier, then they'd fall off in the store though, right? And we can't have that. Ooh. So this one is the same way. Have your base. You're just gonna fill in with your succulents. And once you get your succulents in, you'll go back in and fill in with your moss. And I think we're getting close on time, aren't we, ladies?
Mm-hmm.
So just like that, fill it in with moss anywhere that you can see the little green. And I'm gonna lay this out real quick. You can see it back put together. This is the way I laid it out. I think it was in the picture that you saw when you joined the class. But I mean, you could squeeze them right in and do them all tight. You can do 2 up and 2 down. You can go like that. You can put them at an angle and put these this way. You could have them this way on the wall. So there's all different ways that you can play around, have fun with them. Whatever way looks good, whatever way works for you. And then I want to show you some other ideas to do with, I know somebody mentioned a circle. So FloraCraft has discs already built for you. This one I painted black too. Am I front facing? Am I still overhead? Okay. Now I'm front facing. So you can see I didn't even take, this is just a mixed foliage bush. I didn't even take it off its handle. All I did was bend the stem and floral pinned it. I know you guys have seen my videos before. These are floral pins. Look at my hands. Oh, and now I'm front facing. So if I get it against my shirt, there we go. So that's a floral pin and it pins in, it pins, you just straddle the stem with the pin and poke it right into the foam. But how easy is that to put on your wall? You do a few of those and it's just like foliage on your wall. Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you that. So easy, super easy way to hang your foam. I'm going to use one that don't have anything on it so I can. So this is what I do. And it makes a nice little, so you have to find the middle. Make sure you put this in the middle. But I make a little hole. And you can do this with, well, I'm doing it with a knife. So you do it with anything. Just get yourself a hole going. And then everyone has water bottles around their house, right? So you take your water bottle cap, poke it in that hole that you just made, push it down in and glue it in place. And then you can hang it right on a nail. Am I overhead? So yeah, that gives it a nice strong thing for the nail to hold on. It won't pull through. And it's just an easy, quick trick for hanging foam. Otherwise, you could use a wire, poke a wire in there and make a loop. Use that. Would work also, but that's a pretty quick and easy way to do it. Here's a letter I did with just flowers. If you wanted to do florals instead of foam. Or you could even get crazy and cut out a pineapple and make a pineapple with flowers. So lots of ideas to do with foam. Any questions? All right, Well, I guess that's it then. Until next time, thanks for watching.